In response to the COVID-19 crisis, African countries adopted fiscal measures to stabilize their weakened economies and strengthen progress on their climate change actions. These measures have the potential to either promote a green recovery or exacerbate greenhouse gas emissions if climate-unfriendly activities are promoted. The COVID-19 Macroeconomic Policy Response in Africa project analyzes the climate friendliness of the immediate fiscal responses that were adopted by 6 African countries, namely Nigeria, South Africa, Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda, and Benin. Conducted by the South African Institute of International Affairs, Center for the Study of the Economies of Africa, the Economic and Social Research Foundation, Advocates Coalition for Development and Environment, African School of Economics, and the initiative Prospective Agricole and Rural. The analysis focuses on measures that were included as part of the fiscal stimulus packages designed to address the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic, while acknowledging that countries may have undertaken more climate change action outside of these packages. It is found that while the focus of countries was to minimize macroeconomic vulnerabilities and welfare losses, some of the measures adopted have implications on the climate response of the respective countries. Nigeria, the only country among the 6 with clean energy spending in its stimulus package, was on balance, thanks to the removal of fossil fuel subsidies and some investments in clean energy. For instance, the federal government accelerated the implementation of the $0.62 billion solar power strategy and launched the $0.23 billion national gas expansion program to accelerate the transition of the country to a post-oil era and promote the domestic use of cleaner fuels while at the same time creating green jobs. South Africa, despite being the highest carbon emitter among the 6 countries, did not pursue a green recovery. With the rest of the policy measures essentially climate neutral, South Africa's fiscal stimulus package was also neutral, having had a zero net impact on the GDP share of climate-related investments. Uganda, on the other hand, did not actively pursue a green recovery plan. All the measures included in its stimulus package were general measures that applied to the wider economy rather than activities connected to climate change. Fiscal measures adopted by Senegal, Benin, and Tanzania were generally fewer and climate neutral. The measures were centered on providing support to vulnerable households, small businesses, and large formal corporations. In the case of Senegal and Benin, both members of the West African Economic and Monetary Union, the limited fiscal measures were supported by a larger program of the regional bank. For Tanzania, the government had lifted all the COVID-19 restrictions implemented, and as such, economic damage was limited compared to other countries. With no economic restrictions in the country, it is not surprising that the stimulus measures were also relatively limited and did not include any environmental initiatives. Based on policy measures in the stimulus packages, opportunities are identified for these countries and others in Africa to exploit and move towards a greener recovery. These include expanding the packages to include clean energy projects financed through green financing facilities, imposing carbon taxes to help consolidate their deteriorating fiscal positions while simultaneously reducing pollution, and contributing to the development of green finance segments by putting in place a regulatory framework to incentivize financial market players to develop and issue green products.